Okay, all right. So, this is just a little analogy, or how I think the idea of narrow is the way, as Jesus said, right in Matthew 7:14, 7:13, 14. Um, this is how I actually looked at the picture. Okay, it means a number of things, or you could it's actually straightforward that narrow is a path, just as it said, that narrow is a path that leads to life and only a few find it. Okay, this is kind of like how I also understand it. Okay, I have this, so I've been thinking that it kind of looks like a bus and a van. Okay, a bus, a bus is kind of like huge. A bus can take about 40 people at a go, and a van can take only say 15 people, or say 12 or 20 people. No, I think just sometimes just 9 or 8. Okay, a van, it's kind of like them normal minivans, them summer type holiday vans. Okay, so so when Jesus said narrow is the way, I don't think he was only talking about the fact that it was just some narrow kind of space. Okay, yes, it may seem like a narrow way where, but I think Christ is loving enough, or God is loving enough, to want to create enough space for several people to move in, right? So narrow is the way, is kind of like saying it's a space where a lot of people can simply not find, or a space where several people can definitely not be able to go, right? But it doesn't necessarily say it's it's one small room. I'm sure there's a lot of room. I'm sure he has made a lot of room for several people to be in, and then kind of like by default there's huge space enough for several people to, because Christ has everything, and I'm sure Christ wants everybody to enjoy what life is about. So I'm sure there's enough room for several people um to to feel comfortable in. Okay, the only problem is a lot of people will definitely not find it, because people are ignorant, people are blind, people are sleeping, people people have been deceived, people are filled with a whole number of things which are probably not relevant for their lives. So they miss that opportunity to be in that space where there's a lot of space for everyone. And they go to that broad way. So you see, that space looks like a broad way, but probably at the end, it's a place that is congested. It's a space that is very, there's not enough space for everyone, or there's not enough room for every single person. So that's how I see it, like a van. Okay, so the narrow way looks like that van where several people are packed in, because that's, sorry, the Broadway looks like the space where, and it's funny, the Broadway is like the space where several people are kind of choked in. Okay, there are so many people going the Broadway. He said not many people find the narrow way. It's like a narrow way where only a few people find that place for life, or to life, is just where a few people find. So even though the space may seem narrow, it's still not choked. It's funny, don't you see? It's kind of like a narrow space, but probably on that narrow space you find say two people on that road. So there's a lot of room. But this Broadway, so many people are there. So the place may look broad, but it's choked. So for me, I see it as a van. That van that is kind of like a holiday van, or a van that moves so fast, because everybody's like on that fast pill, right? Everybody's in a haste to do stuff, right? The and if you study the whole concept of the narrow way, is that's the place where there's so much trouble. Yes, Christ's place, right? There's kind of like a lot of temptation. There's a lot of headache and trouble, but only a few people are able to break through those spaces. Okay, so there's so much tension. The devil is there trying to to get or capture the children of God and everything. You're supposed to fight so many battles, spiritual warfare and everything. It's only a few people who actually are able to make it through that space. Only a few people are able to break through the darkness, break through the ignorance, break through or wake up from their sleep. Okay, only a few people find it. You see the picture, but this space is so choked with so many people, kind of like the van. So it's a van which is going so fast, which is going so easy, and looks like fun and everything, but it's choked. I know it's a little confusing. How is it that the Broadway doesn't look like the big van? No, sorry, the big bus. I'm not sure God would just like for us to have something little. I'm sure God wants us to have abundance. At the end of the day, He wants us to enjoy fruitfulness. He wants us to live a full life. He wants us to live a worthy life. So I'm certain that God or Christ means for us to have life in abundance. So He's giving us the bus at the end of the day, that He wants us to be in the bus. But you know what? That bus He has given us, you get into the bus, and that 30-seater bus or that 40-seater bus will have only about 4 or 5 people in the bus. So much space for everyone, but only a few people manage to enter into the bus. Like, do you get a picture? Do you get a picture? So, to for us, probably in the world as we see it, we may think that the fun space is the van. The fun, chill side where there's so much fun and holiday and everything is that van. Okay, so a lot of people try to get into that van. That's where so many people filled with hate, so many people who are trapped and choked by the evil or the enemy, blinded and stuff, probably entering that van. So that van is all choked, it's congested. They want to have more fun in that space, but it's choked, it's congested, there's so much heat, there's so much frustration, there's so much pain, there's so much trouble. The van is the van that that takes about 9 people is probably choked with about 20 people. You see, so many people on that path, just like the van. So you have one van choked with 20 people, another van choked with about 20-25 people, another van choked with about 20 people, which is actually originally supposed to take just 9. But then you have that huge bus that God wants to give His children, or God wants to give His people. You have that huge bus, and you look into the bus, that bus of grace, right? And the bus has about just 5 people in it. A bus that can take about 30 or 40 people has only about 5 people. That's kind of how the whole thing looks like. So, and you know, a bus is more grounded, a bus is more robust. A bus doesn't necessarily speed so much, it doesn't maneuver its way through so many, snaking its way through so many places. It's actually steady on its road, it's robust, it's much more safer, it's stronger, there's more room, right? That's what Christ wants to give to His children. That's what He wants for you, right? But only few people actually get into that bus. That's how it looks like, and just how it looks. Only a few people are actually awake, enjoying the good stuff of being children of God. Or even if at the end of the day, maybe if it's after death or something, just as Matthew said it, Christ said in Matthew, at the end of the day, only a few people find it. So that's what I think. That it's like the bus. The end result is that at the end of the day, there'll be one huge bus, and you look into the bus that's supposed to take about 40 people, only to have say 4 or 5 people in that bus, comfortably, with so much extra space, moving coolly and calmly, safely on the road. And then you have that van, or you have a number of vans, super choked with several different kinds of people, so much congestion, so much discomfort. And that's just what several people like to just get into and get choked in, and they don't really see it. That's what happens. That's kind of like what's happening in the spirit realm, or that's what's happening behind the curtain. They don't really see that they are frustrated, they don't really see that they are congested, they are choked, they are struggling, they are suffering, they are uncomfortable, because they are in that little van. Only a few people actually get to look into the direction where that huge bus is. You see, so that's what I think. I think that idea of narrow is the way can also be compared to a bus and a van. I hope you've learned something from it. Take care. If in case you think otherwise, you can just drop it in the comments. All right. Okay, guys.